Hey everyone. So I wanted to bring up a brief concept for you because I feel like we don't talk about this enough, and I apologize if this is to some degree a unformed thought or doesn't feel incredibly like refined, but it's something that I use in therapy a lot with queer folks. And I want you to kind of hear me out on this. Let's say you're a person who is a gay man, and you settled on gay man because that at the time seemed like the right thing. That felt right. Then you meet a pretty girl. Unlike other women, there's something about this woman that just calls to you. Something about her feels good, feels meaningful. You feel like, despite the differences, despite your sexual proclivities, by definition, you're still attracted. There's no ignoring it. There's no denying it. So what I want to introduce to you is the idea of a bookmark identity. One of the things I think that we often do is we believe that our sense of self is permanent, that it is this rigid thing. So if a person identifies as a thing, they are, by definition, locked into that. If you're gay, right? If you're a binary trans person, you're a binary trans person. But that's not always true. Sometimes we come out with the best information possible, and then our identity changes. I'll use ContraPoints as an example. Originally, Natalie came out as trash, as a train wreck. Natalie also came out as non-binary. Natalie also came out as a trans woman, and then later came out as a lesbian. This is a very good way to illustrate my point, is that in a lot of ways, bisexual for Contra was a bookmark identity. She had conceived of during her transition that she could be with a man, despite her history of dating women. And that felt right, that seemed okay. And clearly it worked. She had a 1.5 year long relationship with a Chad. But that's the point, though, is that that identity worked really well until it didn't. Until it became very clear, until what happened is reality got in the way. I agree with DT in chat. They're meant to be descriptive, not prescriptive. But the problem is that we often use them both that way. Consider that. The way we talk about identities in the LGBT is often prescriptive and descriptive. A person is a lesbian because they're a woman that likes fucking women, or at least women adjacent, right? But people get more complicated than that. Maybe you can be with a non-binary person and that person is femme-adjacent and you still are a lesbian. That's fine. That makes sense to you. Maybe you feel like a better description would be pansexual. Maybe that's a good descriptor. Again, it's about describing describing it, but not just the descriptive aspect. I would say that there is one aspect that needs to be taken into consideration. It's the identifier. That is what feels right. People are attached to words. It's not just a simple description. It's not just like, oh, this one fits, cool, I'm good. They go with what feels right, or at least right enough. And so, in my opinion, I want to introduce this concept of bookmark identities. The idea that no one is required to stay the identity they are. I think this idea opens up a lot. And what I mean by bookmark identities is this. You ever read a really thrilling book? Like, I mean, a really thrilling book. Something that really, like, got you. And then all of a sudden, you get to a part that's just too titillating, too thrilling, too intense, right? Well, what do? Sometimes you read on. Sometimes you put a bookmark in there and you put the book down and go to sleep. And that's a pretty good analogy for this, because rather than continuing to promote awareness, there may be a necessity for a person to put that bookmark identity there and settle on something that will allow them to settle for this for now. I'll use myself as an example as well. I am a non-binary trans woman. I identify as a woman with a little something extra. And by definition, I use she, her, they, fair pronouns because those fit the way that feels right to me. I didn't like neopronouns for a long time throughout most of my life. I've come to adopt them, and I've actually really come to like them and try to make good arguments for them, especially in the face of a lot of NB bigots out there. Excuse me, NB-phobic bigots. Want to be clear on my language. But I think bookmark identities need to be really useful because we need to talk about these things as to where the person is developmentally now. Think about it. Some of you in chat may have had an opportunity to really just dig into your gender identity or in your sexuality, and then somebody came along and that complicated things. I know in my relationship with Zena, one of the things that really sucked was when Zena started dating me and I was still very much in boy mode. We had a bunch of people telling, Zena that they lost their lesbian card. Now, joke's on them, as you can see, but the simple fact is that was a thing that happened. That was a thing that was said because it's incredibly necessary to understand that people can only come to what they're able to understand. I'll give you a really good example of this too. Let's say at the core of your being, you're gender fluid, but you developmentally at the time can't hold that identity. It doesn't make sense to you. The ambiguity is murder. It sucks. So you come to, okay, well, I was AMAB, so I'm going to be a trans woman. Trans woman feels right. And then you're kind of like throughout the course of your life going, this feels uncomfortable. This maybe I don't like all this femme stuff. There's some of the stuff I still really dig, but that stuff feels very tied to masculinity, but that doesn't trigger dysphoria. And so you sort of wiggle it down until you get to what feels right. But that process is not quick. That process is actually very, very slow. And so what I guess I'm trying to share with y'all is the idea of bookmark identities, that you're okay to stop where you're at. You're okay to identify as gay or lesbian or bisexual for now. And if information comes along that changes it, cool. Be adaptable. When Zena decided to start microdosing tea, for me, that brought up a lot of existential and a lot of traumatic fear because I've had really bad experiences with men. But over a lot of work with them and my therapist, one of the things we've come to is I love Zena, and Zena still shares some very real femme aspects with me within the core of just our relationship. But there's still a trans masc non-binary person. I have to love and respect all of them. There is no picking and choosing. None. And so I just wanted to share this idea with all of you because I feel like this is a big deal. Bookmark identities. I really want you all to think about this idea of holding identities almost like you would like a butterfly, right? Soft, very open-handed. You don't want to crush it. You don't want to hold it so tightly you suffer. I think this is a really, really important thing to keep in mind. So I just wanted to share that with all of you. And I hope that's a useful metaphor for anyone out there who's gripping with the idea of like feeling uncomfortable because they don't feel like they've quite found the right one, and they've settled on something, but maybe it's not right, or maybe they've settled on something and now something else is kind of pulling at their mind. It's okay. It's all okay. Sometimes we take on bookmark identities. Sometimes someone is bisexual, turns out to be gay or lesbian. Sometimes someone's gay or lesbian, turns out to be bi or pan. Right? You are allowed to be in process. I'm giving you permission. So yeah, we got a couple of things. I got some articles too for this.
Maybe I'll have to do another thing on bookmark identities, because I don't always see bookmark identities, like I do see it that way, but also I like to use yes and language. Like, I'm non-binary and I'm transmasc and lesbian still kind of fits, you know, my sexual orientation the best. And I find that, you know, adding another and to something to give a better explanation is usually the way to go and gives you a lot more, you know, I think personal control. So that's just a quick aside from Zena.
No, absolutely. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. You can also ring the bell if you want to be notified of our videos. If you want to help the channel, you can donate at streamlabs.com/transgirltherapist/tip. You also can become a patron at patreon.com/transgirltherapist. For as low as $3, you can support our channel. Thanks for watching.